Hello, my dear students. What are we doing today is we are going to operate many signs and decide what to do with that. So, let me tell you that when there are too many signs between two numbers, such as this one, 2 plus plus minus plus minus plus plus 3. So, between 3 and 2, you are going to decide whether you are going to add the two numbers or subtract the two numbers. One of them will happen. Which one? Now let's practice that. Before I start, I need to tell you that every number has a sign in front of it. So, what is the sign in front of this number? 2 is a negative number. So, sign is negative. So, how about 3? What is the sign in front of 3? Well, you can't tell me there is no sign because every number has a sign. If it doesn't have a sign, it means plus. But in real life, we deal with the plus numbers more than we deal with the negative numbers. Therefore, to make our lives easier, we simply once again, ignore the plus sign. We ignore the plus sign. We don't write that down. So I have $10. I never say I have 10 plus $10. It's just 10. But it means plus anyway because I have it. I don't own it. I have it. So I have a number here, 555. What is the sign in front of 555? There is no sign, which means plus. And we ignore it, remember. We ignore the plus sign. So once you know that, now let's talk about the product of two signs. Two signs can be two plus signs, two negative signs, one negative, one positive, or one positive, one negative. So there are two ways to deal with this. Number one, the most common one is when you have two same signs, it doesn't matter we are dealing with two negative signs or two positive signs, doesn't matter. At the end, the product will be a positive sign. Over here, now we don't have two same signs. We have one negative sign here, one positive sign there, or the other way around, positive sign here first and negative sign after. When you have two different signs to deal with, you're going to end up with a negative sign. But also remember, ignore the plus sign. So when you ignore the plus sign, over there, you're going to end up with a positive sign. No sign. You're going to end up with no sign, which means positive sign. And over here, two negative signs, you can ignore. Two negative signs means the same signs. It's a positive sign anyway. And over here, let's ignore the positive sign. So you're going to end up with just one negative sign. And over there, let's ignore the plus sign once again. And you're going to end up with negative sign anyway. So once again, plus sign, ignore the plus sign. We like to make our lives easier, so we are going to ignore the plus sign. So let's just make a simple question. 5 plus 2. What's that? 7. Let's just complicate this question slightly a bit. 5 plus 2. What's that? Let's ignore the plus sign. I just did. Maybe now you are thinking about let's ignore the other plus sign as well. Well, we can, but now between 5 and 2, I don't know which one to do. I'm going to add or subtract. So I'm going to leave the last sign I have, which was a plus sign. So 5 plus 2, that will give you 7. Let's just complicate this slightly a little bit further. 5 plus 2. I am going to ignore all the plus sign except the one, so I know what to do. It will be 7 once again. And now let's do subtraction. 5 minus, let's have 5 minus 2. What's that? 3. Now, I'm going to add more sign to it. I'm going to add the plus sign here. And then I'm going to have minus 2 once again. So, what's going to happen here? Again, let's ignore the plus sign. And let's move the rest of the question next to 5. And I'm going to end up with, again, 5 minus 2, which is again 3. So remember, you can always ignore the plus sign. So 5 plus 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 minus plus 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 2 equals. So what is the answer of this question? There are many signs here. First, let me start ignoring the plus sign. Let's ignore the plus sign. And when I do that, let's bring this here. Let's bring that here. Again, I'm going to end up with 5 minus 2, which is once again 3. Now, enough with the plus signs. Let's start working about the negative signs. 5 minus 2. And now, what do we do? Remember, two negative signs next to each other. That will give you the product of a positive sign. Now, you know between 5 and 2, you got two negative signs. That gave you the positive sign. So you are going to add the two numbers. So that will give you 7. Let's just complicate a little bit further. 5, let's start with plus, minus, 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 plus 1 equals. So, plus signs, I'm going to ignore the plus signs. And then I'm going to end up with all that. So, but the two negative signs will give you the positive sign. So that means the two negative signs, we can also ignore that. And one more two negative signs, yes, I'm going to ignore that as well. And I'm going to bring everything next. Oh, it's going to be 51. So I have to know what to do between 5 and 1. I don't know what to do. There is no sign between. I was about to say there is no sign between the two numbers, but no sign means plus. So you are to add the two numbers to 6. Now, may I complicate this as much as I can? Minus, 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 minus 3. So what's that? Two negative signs will give you positive sign. Let's ignore. Two more negative signs. Ignore. Two more negative signs. Ignore. Two more negative signs. Ignore. And bring that here. No sign in front of 3. No sign means plus. We're going to add the two numbers. It will be 8.